Hey guys, welcome to Modeling Manhood. Today I'm going to tell you about my pneumatic nailer catastrophe. It was disastrous. It was just bad. But anyways, I was working not too far from home here. I had one of my boys with me. He was probably around age 8 maybe, and he was just picking up cutoffs. We were putting plywood on an outside of like a house slash shed building, and we had finished that up, and the owner asked me if I could take all my cut off strips of plywood and kind of rebuild the underside of his soffits really quick. And I had my nail gun with me, and if you guys have ever used pneumatic nailers, you know that they are rib shanked. I'm just going to let you guys zoom in on there so you can see the ribs on there. And so I had the nail gun going, and I was holding pieces up like this. I think I got a piece of wood here. 1 second. I got some old junkies here. So I was holding these cut off pieces like this up in the air, and I was nailing the fascia into the soffits, and the fascia was so rotten that the nail went through the fascia and went completely through my thumb. So if you can imagine one of these guys sticking through my thumb, and I yelled to one of my boys that was with me, I'm like, go get the vice grips, and I'm like trying to pull it out, and because of the ribs on there, I couldn't pull the nail out. I'm like, we need to go get some medical help here, because this is something that Dad can't fix. And so I usually in the summer when I'm working, I usually will keep like a frozen water bottle. So I drove with a frozen water bottle with my hand and the nail up in the air, just going boom, 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 and had a stick shift here. So I'm trying to get my kid to shift for me so I can run the clutch and still steer at the same time. And we drove probably about 15 minutes to the hospital to get this thing looked at. And I'm like looking at this the whole time. And I'm like, we got to get this out. So I didn't know if they were going to have to like cut my thumb open to like pull it out, or if they were going to be able to pull it out, because I didn't know if it was through like the bone in my finger or anything like that. And luckily I missed, just nicked the bone, but they weren't able to pull it out. So I'm like, well, I have these vice grips in my back pocket, and I pull the vice grips out of my back pocket. I said, if you numb it hard enough and I hold it down like this, I said, you just yank and pop that thing out after you numb it. So they numbed my finger, and it was pretty big by then. It was like, I don't know, it was pretty big. It was nasty. I'd never seen my thumb so big. But they had it all medicated up and numbed. And they were able to yank that thing out with my vice grips that I pulled in my back pocket. And just a crazy story. God was definitely looking out. I can remember when we got to the hospital, they took my son like in the next room, and they're like, Dad's going to be all right. Dad's going to be all right. It's okay. Do you want something to eat? Do you want something to drink? And they were like feeding him and coaxing him, because he could tell that I was in like some throbbing pain. From the nail going in, and then also for driving for like 15 minutes, like trying to hold a frozen water bottle up in the air. And you're probably thinking, well, what does this have to do with the Bible? And you're like, oh, Isaac's going to talk about nail-pierced hands today. And if that's what you're thinking, you are wrong. So we're going to open up to one of my favorite books of the Bible, the book of Luke. I was just sharing with a friend the other day that the book of Luke and the book of Acts, both written by Luke in the Bible. Luke is believed to be one of the only Gentile authors in the Bible, which is pretty cool. I like the way he writes, and maybe that's because he's a Gentile. Well, Luke chapter 7, we're going to read verses 1 through 10 here. The faith of the centurion. When Jesus had finished saying all this to the people who were listening, he entered Capernaum. And the centurion's servant, whom his master valued highly, was sick and about to die. The centurion heard of Jesus and sent some elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come and heal his servant. When they came to Jesus, they pleaded earnestly with him, "This man deserves to have you do this, because he loves our nation and has built our synagogue." So Jesus went with him. He was not far from the house when the centurions sent friends to him and said, Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. Wow. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But you say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one to go, and he goes. I tell this one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turned to the crowd following him, and he said, I tell you, I have not found such great faith in Israel. Then the man who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. So, really cool story about the centurion. He didn't even feel like he was worthy to have Jesus into his own house. And I don't know about you guys. Is your house ready? Is your heart in order for Jesus to come and dwell with you? Is he going to be disappointed at what he finds underneath your roof, in your house, how you're raising your kids, how you're just doing life day to day? And I think of my son there in the other room while I was getting that nail yanked out of my hand. And they're like, Dad's going to be all right. Dad's going to be all right. And you know what? At the end of the day, I was all right, just like the centurion's servant. And it's so important that we trust Jesus, even in moments when we have like nails hanging out of our fingers and broken bones or things just aren't going our way. It's so easy to worry. And this month we're talking about worrying. And I just want you guys to stop the worrying and start trusting in this book. Start making it more relevant to your heart. So thank you guys for joining us. If you guys are operating one of these, make sure that you guys make sure that you're not shooting them into rotten wood, so that you're shooting them off in the distance or being dangerous. So thank you guys for joining us. And as always, remember to mirror your maker, and you got it. Journey with Jesus. See you guys soon.